my name is 𝐫𝐚𝐝𝐻𝐿𝐲, and I'm the host of The Road to Success for Your Highly Sensitive Child. This podcast is about empowering parents of highly sensitive children to nurture their child's unique personality trait and create a path to success. Our podcast provides guidance, insights, and support to help you unlock your child's full potential, fostering resilience, confidence, and a bright future. If you're new to my podcast, please go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 because they provide information on high sensitivity that all subsequent episodes will build upon. If you skip these episodes, you won't get as much out of this and all subsequent episodes. To book a private coaching session with me, please visit my website at parentinghsc.com. Today's episode is a continuation of my conversation with Mr. Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad is the amazing and talented producer of this podcast, and he's the founder and producer at My Producer and has a background in radio and TV broadcast industry and its surrounding fields, including music, film, theater, and the various forms of liberal arts. I absolutely love working with Ahmad and highly recommend him if you're interested in starting a podcast. This is the second episode in the Superpower Unleashed series where we debunk the myth that HSP are highly emotional, too sensitive, and too weak to be successful in their careers. I hope you enjoy it.
Parasu, I'm sure you're like this too, where it's the two sides of this coin, of this perfectionism coin, right? So one side is perfection, right? Who you are, you need to be, right? So we have a high level of accountability, and we express that in our empathy, because if our, we have this empathy is like, okay, you're hurt, but if you're hurt and you're faking it, we're gonna be bothered by it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm gonna call you on it.
yeah, we're gonna be disappointed, right? So that perfectionism is not like, hey, I gotta write a perfect book. That perfectionism is like in life, a flower is a flower, right? The sky is the sky, right? So but then we have this other side of that where because of that perfectionism, we actually see beauty in everything because of that, right? So it's like if you are a human and you are a parent and you're just doing the best that you can and you're being honest about that, we see that as the perfectionism. Like that also fits perfectionism, and that's the beautiful experience, right? And it's like, that's what we're striving for. Like, that's the slant that we look for, is we're just saying, hey, like, just be authentic and don't hurt people and don't be negative. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
yeah, one
like
thing.
that's what we want,
Yeah,
so.
exactly. You hit the nail on the head. So one thing that we really want is to be authentic. One of the things that I learned in life is when I was authentic, when I didn't change anything about myself to fit in, I was the happiest. I was the most successful. I succeeded in every project that I ever worked on, despite the fact that I would get thrown projects that I had no clue what to do with. I had zero experience in it, and I would thrive in it. Why? Because I was completely allowed to be my authentic self. Now, take that to my last job, where I struggled to fit, I was just trying to fit in. I didn't belong. I didn't have the sense of belonging there. So I wasn't able to be myself. I was not able to shine the way I shined at my first job out of college, where I was there actually for 14 years. And that company, they just let you be who you are, and it didn't, it wasn't like a high school type of environment where you had to click with certain people and you had to be a certain way and you had to dress a certain way. They let you be who you are. And,
Right.
comparing that to my last job where, it was like a very much like a high school place where it was very cliquey and judgmental, and you had to be a certain way to be accepted. And if you didn't fit that mold, then you were out of the, cool, cool zone.
Right.
So you got treated differently. And
Right.
when I experienced that, I realized, Brene Brown talks about the difference between fitting in and belonging, and the importance of teaching your children to go for situations, people, experiences where you have a sense of belonging instead of fitting in. Because especially as a highly sensitive person, it's really important that your child knows about their high sensitivity so that they can understand who they are. Who am I as a highly sensitive person? What are my personality traits that make me a highly sensitive person? Because that helps them understand, oh, okay, this person, they're not highly sensitive. So that's why they act the way they do.
Yes.
When a child goes to school and this child is like very abrupt with their words, and they don't care the impact that their words have on somebody else, your highly sensitive child is going to get hurt because they're like, why are they talking to me like that? I would never talk to
Right.
someone like that. I would never hurt someone in that way. I would never be harsh with my words.
Right.
I'm
Right.
kind. I am loving. I'm nurturing. Well, that's because you're a highly sensitive person.
Sensitive person. Yeah, that's the
So
reason.
you care about the impact that you have
You do.
on
Yeah.
people, people, environment, um, animals. I mean, you care, I
Right.
think at a very high level.
Absolutely. And to kind of add to that, and add to the point that I was making prior to that, is like, remember, like, even though you're highly sensitive, doesn't mean you still can't hurt someone else. But when a highly sensitive person hurts someone else, it's like a chain reaction from something that hurt them.
Mhm.
So for an example, like, I'm gonna use Kanye West again because that's something he's polarizing and everyone knows him. When he has his tantrums, it's because he's not seeing beauty somewhere. It's
Mhm.
because there's an expectation of someone that's not fulfilling that expectation, that has a global level of respect that's supposed to be, like, there's someone not doing their job, right? So he'll have a tantrum. He just hasn't healed from how he hasn't found a way to get better with those tantrums. So I want to make sure people understand, like, highly sensitive people can still be negative, but the thing is, what a highly sensitive person does that 80% of the population can't get is that we can see two competing ideas and feel joy and pain equally from both of them.
Yeah,
And then we'll try to find a solution to bring them together. Like,
absolutely.
we would try to be the peacemaker in
Yes.
something. So I've been in conversations with people who support Trump and people who support Obama or Biden, and I can see the good and bad in both because
Mhm.
I'm sensitive to both sides.
Yeah.
I can feel the pain on both sides. I don't have to experience what they go through, but I can understand their logic, right? And their personal experiences. And from that, you know, I can say, okay, here's a solution. But what happens is the 80%, they're never going to want to agree with that because they have to sacrifice their common, their ground to be able
Mhm.
to get there. But a highly sensitive person, we're willing to give up ground to help someone else, it's going to create a better environment for other people. I
Exactly.
almost want to say we'll take a hit
Mhm.
and go through something. We'll go through our silent sadness
Mhm.
to help someone else feel better than us, I would think. Because we're big givers. We're a give to a fault.
Yeah, and yes, absolutely. Like I remember when I was little, my aunt kept telling me, "You're too nice. You're too nice. You got to stop
Yeah.
being so nice." And my answer to her was, I get it. I get it that the world is not like me. That others, 80% of people are not like me. I get that. but I don't want to change myself. I like being who I am. I like being
Right.
nice. I like being kind. I like giving. But as an adult, I've learned who to give to. I've learned, okay, stay away from narcissistic people. I didn't know
Yeah.
the concept of narcissism until, about 2 or 3 years ago. But now that I do, I stay away, as much as possible.
Right.
You can't always stay away. But you do your best to stay away from those situations that are going to ultimately hurt you because you're being too giving or too kind or too nice. But I don't want to change that. I love the way I am. I love the fact that I'm compassionate, and I love
Right.
the fact that people are drawn to. I mean, I travel a lot by myself, and people ask,
Hmm.
why do you travel by yourself? Isn't it scary? Isn't it lonely? Isn't it this? Isn't it that?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Wherever I go, I swear to God, I could be sitting by myself at a table, and all of a sudden people will join me and they'll start a conversation with me. And before you know it, we become friends. People are just drawn to
Hmm.
my energy.
Right.
And,
Right.
and then also, like I was in France one time eating at a very fancy restaurant by myself, and there was a table next to me with three people. And one of the people that was in that group, she had gone through a breakup and she was in a lot of pain. She was immediately drawn to me. I didn't talk to her. I didn't say a word to her. I didn't say hello to her. I didn't even look at her. But she started up a conversation with me, and she was telling me how my energy is healing her. And then she opened up and told me her whole life story. I didn't know this person.
Hmm.
Why is this
Right.
person coming to me and telling me their life story? Because they can feel my energy, because they can feel that
Right.
I'm a compassionate person, that I'm a caring person, that I'm going to listen. And I'm going
Right.
to say, hey, I'm at this fancy restaurant trying to enjoy my dinner. I paid a lot of money to be here. I don't want to listen to your negative sob story.
Right.
I was
Right.
really there with her. I felt her pain, and she could see that in my eyes. She could see
Right.
empathy in my eyes, and she could see that I was there with her. And
I can relate
holding
so
space.
much to that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off,
no,
but
go ahead, go ahead.
but I can really relate to that because I'm in rooms today that I'm surprised that I'm in there, and the person who would invite me to these rooms, they would just say, Ahmad, just all you have to do is just show up and just be you. Like, don't worry about anything else.
Yeah,
And it's just, so you're absolutely right. I think people who are highly sensitive, and I'm still learning about this about myself because I look at my history that I've worked in companies where I don't perform the best. I'm not like the best performer, but they'll say, but it's Ahmad. So just who cares? As long as he's here. I've had people say if Ahmad quits, I quit.
wow,
Um, I would see when I walk into a room, like in a tense room, people's shoulders will drop. So this is
wow.
stuff that I didn't realize until I'm older, and I'm kind of thinking back. This year I'm kind of just taking inventory of my life. But yeah, but it's like things like that I would think like wow, like that's I just have a great personality. But no, it's more to it than that. Like you said, it's well, the HSP is a personality trait, but not everyone has that.
Yeah,
And to be able to have opportunities where you just sit here, Ahmad, and just be you.
yeah,
Chime in when you want to. Trust me, you're good.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I could totally see
So
that, because as a highly sensitive person, like we said earlier, we, in anything that we do, we give it all that we have. And even
yeah,
if we don't know that subject matter, we will become an expert in no time. And
that
and
is funny.
yeah, and then we
That's
take it
funny.
to the next level even. We don't just succeed in it. We become the expert, where people come to you and ask you about it. And like one example that comes to mind is I was working a long time in the software development space. And
Hmm.
we decided, I was working at Cisco, and my manager decided that we're going to participate in the agile, um,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so software development methodology instead of what we traditionally use was waterfall. And
Okay.
so, I said, okay, sure, I'll learn about it. He said, okay, I'm going to send you to a class, and I'm going to give you a project to manage. And I said, okay.
Right.
He gave me this huge project that was like really, really crucial. That was global impact on our
Hmm.
e-commerce system that all of our customers use to place orders, place product
Right.
orders. And I was like, oh my God, this is huge. I don't know anything about Agile. I just took one class, to become a
Yeah.
Scrum Master. That's all I took. And before you know it, he would introduce me to people as, oh, this is the queen of Agile. And I'm like, okay, I'm just
You
learning.
just naturally do it, right?
Guess
Yeah.
what? I did become the queen of Agile in no time. I knew not just Scrum Master role, I knew the product managers or the
Hmm.
product
Hmm.
role, and I knew all of the various
Yeah.
tasks involved. And I became so good at it that our project actually won the top award.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So my point in that story is just that we don't even have to be good at something that we get, like we become good at it and we excel at it, because our personality is such that it's not about perfectionism, but it's about us. Like we thrive
Right.
on being the best version of ourselves, and we are so
We're
critical.
always working on ourselves,
Yeah,
like that
never.
self-development
Yeah,
aspect. Yeah.
yeah. We definitely
Like,
have.
a good career for a highly sensitive person would be like coaching, counseling, therapist,
Yeah,
psychologist. Those
yeah,
would be great careers for an
yeah.
HSP, hands
Yeah.
down.
Well,
I miss
like,
my call. I miss my calling, Paris, too.
no, no, you did not, because you're amazing at what you do. Because, when so let's talk about you and your career. So first of all, I know that you approached me via LinkedIn many, many
Hmm.
times
Yeah.
before I actually decided that I'm going to go forward and meet with you to find out more about what you had to offer. And the reason
Yeah.
behind that is, first of all, I was working at Dolby. So, I was doing the coaching business as a volunteer, because
Okay.
people were asking me to. It wasn't because I
Okay.
I wanted to do it, of course, but people were like, please, I need help. Can you do this? And I was working with adults. I was not working with parents at the time.
Okay.
I was coaching, I was helping people that worked at Dolby. And I was helping other people that would come to me from word of mouth. So I was doing that on the side. And when you approached me, I thought, podcast. I'm an introvert. I can't,
Right.
I can't
Right.
talk to, the entire world. I can't be exposed to the entire world. I wouldn't even know
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
do that. And it took me,
Right. Right.
I mean, you made it so easy that I was even ahead of your timeline most of the time. I think I was
Yes, you
so
were.
ahead that that I threw
Yeah.
you off because you're like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't know which to
which
schedule
one?
one
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, we misscheduled because it was like, oh wait a minute. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
wait
It
a
was
minute,
you were
you've
the
already
first.
done
Yeah. We
that.
was like you're like, yeah, it was like, yeah, no one's ever done this to us before.
There's a highly sensitive person for you. They're always ahead of the game.
Yeah, right on. 'Cause I was like, yeah, I said she was loading this up and we did this, you did that, and yeah, we weren't ready for
Yeah, but I
that.
mean, you were so amazing that,
Thank you
you
very
took
much. Yeah,
somebody with zero knowledge.
God is good.
I
He's
I
good.
didn't even listen to podcasts before you came along. And honestly, even though so many people told me, oh God, you're going to do your podcast, you're going to have to start listening to other people's podcasts to learn from them. I said, no. For the first time in my life, I have 100% control of what I do on a daily basis. I am not going to mimic somebody else's podcast. This is about me. This is about my word, and this is about helping other people. And I'm not going to like copy somebody's style. I'm going to have my own style. And if it
Right.
resonates with people, fabulous. If it doesn't, that's okay. Those are not my people. And I'm so grateful that I had you to walk me through like creating a persona. I was clueless. Like, what is that? And you have to explain it to me. And you
Hmm.
explain things in such a way that people just get it. Like, I just got it. The
Yeah.
words that you use, the way that you simplify things. And that's the other thing about highly sensitive people. We have a tendency to take something that's huge
Yeah.
and that is so daunting, and we
Hmm.
break it down into modules that are easily digestible
Hmm.
chunks. And that's exactly what you did with your
Yeah.
training,
Yeah.
right? With the way you took something that was so daunting to me. I'm like, oh my God, being a podcaster, are you serious? And we just took steps and steps and steps. And before
Yeah.
I knew it, I had my intro done. Before I knew it, I
Yeah.
had my first episode. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it. And
Yes. I
honestly,
remember.
it seemed so easy. And looking back at it, I realize it's because you're a highly sensitive person. Because you're a highly sensitive person, you took
Yep.
something that is so daunting, you broke it down into easily digestible modules, and then
Right.
you led me in such a easy and like effortless way. Really felt like it was just super effortless for me to go
Right.
through every single module. I did it. I went to the next one. I was excited to finish each one to get to the next one. I mean, it was just like such a breeze, honestly.
Right. Right.
I
That is
can't
it.
imagine if it wasn't for you, there's no way I would have just been able to have my podcast and have people come to me and say, oh my God, your podcast sounds professional. Oh my God, the music you use is amazing.
Hmm.
And I'm like, yes, it's all because my amazing producer, Ahmad, trained me to be this way. It's not like I knew how to be this way. So tell us about you,
Yeah.
career, how you got here, how you're so successful.
Still on the way.
That's us because we're always in a
But
growth mindset. And I
yeah, yeah.
congratulate you. That's an amazing mindset to always have.
Right, right. I had a meeting with a lady that I'm hoping to recruit to the team, and when I was showing her, the things that my producer team is working on, and how much they've accomplished, and all the different, like the software developer creating the website, which we're gonna get that tweaked, by the way, Paris, too. Um, she was just so impressed
Mhm.
by what was created in the processes and stuff like that. And I think that the small part that I was able to play into everything, I honestly do believe now I can put a label on it. It is because I'm sensitive to the process
Yeah,
that was created. It's like I'm really paying very, very minute detail.
yeah,
I'm looking at every little tiny little step, and I'm thinking it through.
yeah,
Like, how is this going to affect the team? How is this going to affect the podcaster's experience? You know, and I'm always open to suggestions as well. Like,
yeah,
because I can't think of everything, but that's what I think you experience, and why you say, okay, yep, it's because he's highly sensitive. And here's something the parents need to know, that your child is not only just sensitive to other people, it's sensitivity to anything that they're working on that's not alive. It could be a project, it could be a process, it can be anything, that he or she is just focused on, and they're going to pay attention to that detail, which comes with perception is perfectionism. People think we're trying to be perfectionists, and we have to work on that because it does. Perfectionism falls into that. Addictions can come from that. Um, but we do pay a lot of attention.
Yeah, and we see
So
subtleties that others don't. So what you
right,
described in terms of the traits of high sensitivity, you just described um, depth of processing, where you analyze things to a very deep level. You
right.
don't just see the impact of that process for today, but you see the impact for the future, for the
Hmm.
company, for the customers, for the users. I mean, you look at it holistically, and not
Correct.
everybody knows how to do that. That's just
No,
really a highly
it's just
sensitive trait where you look
right.
at it from all different perspectives,
All perspectives. Yes, it's
and
it's
you go
you know
deep.
we go deep. So there's like this thing, like, so think of intuition. Some people just have the gift of intuition. So a highly sensitive person has that gift of intuition times 10.
Yes, exactly.
Just remember, everything is times 10.
Yeah.
So an intuitive person, you're like, man, this person is very intuitive. So imagine your child, highly sensitive, they're intuitive as well, but it's gonna grow times 10.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, they pay a lot of attention, they're watching a lot, and they're the capacity to learn and apply is times 10.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's why, like, you learn, like, how many languages do you know, Paris? Too?
Five.
Yeah, so I'm on my third. I know three. If you want to count ebonics, then that's four.
Good job. What's Ebonics?
Black language, black man language,
Oh, I didn't know
black people,
that.
black people language.
I would count that in.
Yeah. It's like Ebonics is like American Creole.
Okay. You just
You
taught
know,
me something. I just
yeah, because
learned that. I never learned that word before.
yeah. So it's called Ebonics. So
Okay.
because we go to New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
They speak like it's a different version of French,
Yeah.
in New Orleans, right? So English has that kind of language as well, and we call it Ebonics.
Okay, got it.
Or like if you go to the Caribbean, like the Jamaicans, they have a certain way that they speak.
Yeah,
So that's like a Creole in Jamaica,
got it.
right? So yeah,
Super
so
cool.
that's our Creole in
All right. So you know four
America
languages.
for American English.
Good job.
So, but no, but like, yeah, so I have three languages, and now I'm learning how to read music.
Mhm.
So that's another language,
Yeah.
and I picked up like software development pretty easily too, like learning how to code and stuff like that. If I wanted to spend a lot of time on that, I could probably pick up on that like a pro. Like you said, like we can master anything,
Hmm.
and I'm realizing that is a highly sensitive person's trait, because we pay attention to detail and we become addicted to what we want to learn,
Yeah.
and we stick with it and we want to be the best at it. So I understand, and that's why I think people, when they have someone who's autistic, right? And they're like, well, not all autistic people, have that same trait, because they all have that. They have some have that trait as well. And I think it's because they probably are some people who are autistic that are highly sensitive as well. And they have that same personality trait, which is why I think that misdiagnosing occurs.
Yeah.
It's like, but what if someone has that same character trait, but they don't have a mental disability? Because someone who's autistic has an inability to do something. We were not going to go into those, it's a different type of show to go into those
Yeah.
differences. Maybe we might want to do that one day, Paris, to have a show where you talk about
Yeah.
the similarities, but what differentiates the two,
Yeah.
because I don't fit the disability aspect of the neurodivergent. So my son doesn't either.
Yeah.
but we do have some of the idiosyncrasies, those nuances.
Yeah.
We have those weird, I have a weird tick that I do, that kind of happens. It's like I can't control it. And some of the autistic kids have some of that as well.
So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you that you have the power to create a bright and successful future for your highly sensitive child. Embrace their uniqueness, nurture their strengths, and provide them with the love and support they need. Together, we can pave a path to success that aligns with their sensitivity. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We'll be here with more insights and inspiration in our next episode. Until then, keep believing in your child's potential because they truly are extraordinary. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and stay committed to setting your child up for success in life. To book a private coaching session with me, please visit my website at parentinghsc.com.